It is Tuesday, February 2nd. Happy Groundhogs Day. Today is Thursday for you, listener, viewer. We have fan mail featuring some of you, some news on the Snyder Cut. The MCU train is moving at full speed. We are talking Captain America, the First Avenger, and WandaVision, Episode 4. This is mostly superheroes. Hello, and welcome to Mostly Superheroes, a TV and film podcast and web series where we talk mostly superheroes, but we do discuss anything worth watching. We review, we rate, we sometimes debate. I'm your host, Logan, joined by co-hosts PC Mike and the Giggler. PC Mike, welcome back to the show. How was your week, brother?
It was great. Excited for this weekend coming up. I know we got a lot to talk about, but in the world of superheroes, things are heating up on WandaVision. HBO's dropping new movies like hotcakes, so it's a good time to be a streaming service.
Hell yes. The content machines are fully pumping with all, what do they say, all things firing or whatever. They are not messing around. Giggler, it's his birthday, folks. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, dude. How was your birthday? I know it was Sunday, and how was your week?
Yeah. Thank you so much to you and the squad. I saw at least 300 people comment happy birthday on that post, so thank you to all those people. But it was good. I really appreciate Vince McMahon scheduling the Royal Rumble on my birthday, knowing that it was going to fill the big old gaping hole of having no football on Sunday, which is a little taste of what the next few months minus next week's going to be after the Super Bowl. So, but honestly, my weeks revolve around Fridays now whenever WandaVision comes out. So that's all that matters.
Hell yes, I can completely echo it. It's not getting old having a Marvel title every single Friday. I feel like we're spoiled rotten, but I'm just going to keep on taking it and saying thank you. It's a good transition, actually. It's about your birthday. Let's get right into fan mail.
Fan mail.
So it's funny you said that about that post on your birthday, because I was like, if you guys didn't know, the Giggler was exaggerating. It was actually kind of sad. Not that many people said happy birthday in the squad page, so much so that I even commented on my post and said, isn't he probably going to do this? Like, no, it's been all day. And thank you, Sean. And make a note here. Get Sean. I have Sean's last name in there. I'll get that out of there. Sean, don't worry. We won't out you to the world. Sean jumped in there and said,
my new best friend.
Yeah, happy belated birthday.
He does have some hearts and some likes on there, though.
Yes, we did get. You had a fair amount of people interacting with it. A lot of engagement. It was getting people to go the extra mile and type the words. They just couldn't get there.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm pretty lazy on Sundays too, so it works out for everybody.
No, I had to highlight it. We appreciate you guys. But next time, I guess, we'll see. My birthday's in June. When's yours, PC Mike?
November. So we got.
Okay, so you guys
we'll build up the squad until then.
That's right. And then next year, Andy, that'll be the year you get thousands, we assume.
Down. I'm in.
Next up at the show, definitely haven't done this in a while. Want to highlight you folks listening out there to our podcast. It's everywhere you get your podcast. This one comes at us from Apple Podcasts, of course. This is from Philly 2008. Left a review, a 5-star rating, first of all, and said, perfect show for superhero fans. I loved the Mandalorian ending. Want to say thanks, Philly. Appreciate the shout out from us. Hope you appreciate the shout out on the show. I'll say reading this comment just got me missing the Mandalorian and getting excited that we get to talk about that show eventually again. I think it's filming right now.
Or getting ready, like very close. It's either filming or getting ready to. I think I saw a little blurb today. And then I also saw, I don't know if it's on any of the slides, but Obi-Wan Kenobi is getting ready to start filming as well.
Hell yeah. Can't wait to talk about these Star Wars shows. So Philly 2008, hope you keep on listening, and we'll have more Mandalorian stuff for you in the future. It's that easy to be featured on Fan Mail. give us a write, give us a comment, something somewhere, and you'll probably end up here. Let's get into the news.
What you watch.
Huh.
News and rumors.
We're excited for what you're watching, though.
Well, you know what it is? I've done that in 2 episodes now. It's because I used to do what you watching first, if you guys remember. And then I realized that I like starting off with the fans, hit the news out of the way, and then spend the rest of the time nerding out instead of like bouncing back and forth between talking about stuff. So I just haven't switched it on the soundboard. So you're getting it live as you usually do on the show. We do have one piece of news and rumors today. Didn't want to bombard it too much. I know that we have some heavy MCU stuff to watch for the next 6 weeks. We're gonna be MCU heavy, doing the quick recaps of the films and then talking about WandaVision. It's taking up a lot of our time, but I want to make sure we took a time to highlight some news out of comic book. Zack Snyder teasing out the Snyder Cut, which, if you're not following along, does drop on HBO Max March 18th. So we are talking, pretty much around the corner at this point. And he released a photo of his version of Jared Leto's Joker. Right? Is this right? Am I reading this right? Zack Snyder was saying that he wanted to, I'm going to read this. This is actually straight from the article. He revealed this first look at the version of the Joker from Justice League. In a new post on his Vero account, Snyder shows Joker holding up his signature Joker playing card in the foreground, while the actual face and makeup of the character remain blurred in the background. It's a big deal tease from Snyder, as fans have been wondering if the director would be bringing back Jared Leto's Joker with the same controversial makeup design as he had in David Ayer's Suicide Squad. This photo from Snyder feels like something very different than that, eerily close to Heath Ledger's Joker. And this is actually straight from Snyder. He said, "I wanted to, of course, honor what had been created with him because I thought it was really cool." Snyder told Beyond the trailer regarding Suicide Squad. "But also, in Justice League, I'm not going to tell you what happens in the little scene, but some water has gone under the proverbial bridge between what we last saw Joker and his appearance. So he's made some... He's a road-weary Joker. That, I guess that's a way of saying it," is what Snyder had to say. So, I don't know if you guys had seen the photo. I mean, what does this mean to you? Are you guys excited as Batman fans to see this Joker again? I'll start with you, PC Mike.
Yeah, I didn't love Jared Leto. I didn't love it. I think it was a cool take. It wasn't my favorite, I guess, because Heath Ledger just kind of blew it out of the water and kind of ruined it for everybody else. But I'm excited to see it. I thought Jared Leto did some good things. I couldn't get over some of his weird laughs that he tried to do every once in a while when he was like, those kind of laughs.
That was it.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. And that kind of looks like in this picture, like he has a glove. Like, is that kind of like a callback-ish to Jokers we've seen in the past? I don't know. I like it.
Yeah, and is he going to be like, I mean, they say the word that he's been like, what do they say? Like, not redeemed, but I'm wondering if he's going to be connected with Harley Quinn again, is what they mean. Because it's like, they had a weird storyline. They had the Harley Quinn movie. Like, are they going to bring this back in? Like, I don't know.
And like, are the tattoos gone? Can you really see any tattoo? I know it's blurry, but like, I can't really see like damaged on his head or anything like that.
Yeah, and are they also just like is it just a new character? Is this like a new Joker that's like just had different experiences? I mean,
like, oh, I got burned again. All my tattoos are gone. Here we go.
What do you think, Giggler?
It looks like a version of like the creepy thing from the Saw movies.
Yeah,
Jigsaw. It does look like Jigsaw.
Like, I don't know if they were going for that, but I mean, I'm going to give it a chance for sure.
Yeah.
And I think it won't take a lot to be better than the original portrayal of the character in Suicide Squad and everything. So,
is he balding? It almost looks like he's bald up top.
Yeah, you can barely see his hair.
He's road weary. He's been through some shit, it sounds like. So
yeah,
What happened in Suicide Squad? Did he like jump off the plane or something?
Yeah, he went down with the helicopter.
So maybe he's burned and like he burned himself. I don't know.
Yeah,
that could be it.
Well, either way, I mean, I just want this thing to get here for the sake of, as it feels like we've been talking about it, because we have since at least June, when we started talking with each other on the podcast. So I'm just excited for this thing to get here and just see what in the world we're talking about.
I did see a funny tweet today that said, "I really don't think Zack Snyder's even done with the Snyder cut. I think he's just adding to it still constantly and just throwing stuff.
This is all we're literally talking about a person that wasn't even in this movie originally.
Right.
So
exactly.
that just shows how much he changed. Like everything's been changed. So I'm excited still, though. I'll give it a chance, all 4 hours of it, and see what happens.
That's what I'm saying. If it's just that's why I asked, is it the same Joker? You know, it's like, are you just going to be like, hey, the Penguin's going to be in this movie now? And you're like, wait, what is this movie?
Is Deathstroke in this movie? Has that been confirmed? Is Deathstroke?
I mean, he was at the end credit scene, right, of Batman vs Superman. And I mean, come on.
I'm pretty sure he's confirmed in it.
I like that. But we'll see what happens. I'm excited. I'm excited to see it. I'm not going to lie. I know you guys are too. All right, we'll keep you posted. That's our news and rumors for the day. Let's get into what we're watching.
What you watching?
I combined you guys today because you guys are kind of covering the same stuff. So we'll talk about it in a minute. But first, I got to highlight some what you watching news from the fans on Instagram. I wanted to highlight this show because it does star. We're talking about Walker on the CW. It stars Jared. I always butcher his last name, Peladecki or something like that. I always get it wrong. But he's from Supernatural, which has ended. Oh, man. One of my favorite shows, I'll tell you that. And we had a comment from legalize_positivity. That's on Instagram. It's actually pretty good, worth a watch. I haven't seen it yet. I thought about giving it a chance. There's just a lot of stuff on our plate right now, so I don't know if it's a now thing, probably a later thing. Giggler, did this interest you at all? Just kind of, having more of a pulse on the CW world.
Today was the first time I've heard of this, so I'm gonna look into it though. We'll see.
It's like Walker. It's Walker Texas Ranger.
I've never watched Walker Texas Ranger, so.
Oh.
You've never seen Walker Texas Ranger?
Wow. I mean, I'm not gonna jump on you. I mean, it's Chuck Norris, man. Chuck Norris.
Yeah. There's some cringe-worthy '90s clips out there of Walker Texas Ranger. It's like Haley Joel Osment has AIDS in one of the shows or something like that, and he's like, "Walker says I have AIDS."
Oh no!
I swear, there's a clip out there like that.
I'm probably gonna sit this one out.
That's fine. And Andy, honestly, I was just making fun of you because I didn't really watch Walker either. It was something that I watched a little bit as a kid when it was on. When my dad was watching it, and then Chuck Norris became infamous because of the internet, and they're just like, what can't Chuck Norris do? I thought it was a funny show to remake, but what aren't they remaking nowadays? PC Mike, is this getting you excited at all? Is this hitting any marks? Hold on, he's unmuting. He's getting there.
Sorry, I was looking up the clip of Haley Joel Osment saying that because it's an actual clip. But no, this does. I hate to say it does not move the needle for me.
Yeah,
there's so much stuff out there now that I need to catch up on and I want to watch. I'm not. Is it like a prequel to Walker Texas Ranger? Is it like his son?
I don't have. This is where the podcast is letting you guys down. I haven't done a lot of recon on it, but hey, who has legalize_positivity on Instagram? Appreciate you guys shouting out the show. We'll keep an eye on it. If you feel strongly about it and you're a fan of this show, write in, let us know. We can be persuaded to put stuff on the list, and if it's coming from the fans, we'll give it a real chance. Moving on to you two. We'll start with you, Giggler, since it is your birthday week. But you guys did have very similar lists this week. I thought it was very cute, very nice. You guys watching the same stuff as you do sometimes. It just happened to match up with the Royal Rumble this past Sunday. I know we're going to talk about Raw, and we're also going to talk about the little things, which I've already covered. So you guys going to have the floor. Andy, how was your Sunday? Tell us about Royal Rumble.
Oh, man. My Sunday was epic. Just ate a lot of good food. In preparation of this event here. Definitely one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year, next to WrestleMania. It's probably better, just the pure entertainment factor of the Royal Rumble itself. Just up to 30 people in there at once, just going at it. Always some cool surprises about who's going to come back, who hasn't been on in a while, who's going to return, something like that. That's the funnest part to me. It's just all the people from when I used to watch wrestling, like the first time around when I was a kid, they're all too old, like The Undertaker, basically. The odds of them appearing are pretty low, but Goldberg still had a match. He's still kicking. But I enjoyed it a lot. Nobody really that I wanted to win won, but that's never the case. But it's still super entertaining, and I was a big. I don't know. I'm all about the Royal Rumble compared to the other pay-per-views. I'm sure Mike loved it as well.
Yeah, let's stay on the Rumble for a minute. PC Mike, what'd you think?
I will say Rumble's like I'm with Andy. Like it's probably my favorite pay-per-view, Royal Rumble, Mania, and I love Money in the Bank still.
Word, agreed.
But this was the first time that I really it hurt me there was no crowd there for the Royal Rumble. Like that this is really like the first almost event that I've really like noticed like the crowd not being there hurt it. Because the Rumble is all about surprises. We had old wrestlers like Andy said, Carlito came back, the Hurricane, all these different people coming back, and there wasn't any pop because they have to dub the sound over. You can like watch it virtually, but it's just not the same. Still a great show. I like how they went with, well, Edge won the Royal Rumble, and his name, Logan, you probably even know who Edge is. He was the first one in, last one out. There's a good storyline with Randy Orton there in the middle. And then, Drew McIntyre retained and Roman Reigns retained. So no really big titles changed. So overall, it was a solid show. It's one of the more fun ones. It's a lot. If you were a casual wrestling fan, that's the one to watch because WrestleMania, you have like 8 hours now coming up because you have 2 full nights. This one you can watch in about 3. So if you're a casual fan, this is the one to get into first. But overall, very good. And I see you have some pictures from Raw. I did watch Raw for the first time in a long time last night, and it was good to see. And that Alexa Bliss, Randy Orton storyline is still pretty cool.
What would be, you say, the top moment for you guys for Royal Rumble?
I mean, my favorite thing about Royal Rumble is the men's. I mean, seeing who's coming out. That's my favorite thing. I won some money because we always pull numbers for the Royal Rumble, and you get those numbers of entries. If your guy wins, you get money. So I won for the first time ever. So it was nice to get a couple extra bucks. But yeah, I mean,
I lost both of mine.
I've always kind of hated that, like, if you're in a different match nowadays, you don't get in the Rumble. Like Kevin Owens wasn't in the Rumble, was he?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
I don't think Kevin Owens was in the Rumble, but he had a title match. But I kind of want it to be like, if he lost that title match, he could still get in the Rumble and try to get another shot at the title. Like, there's little things I'd change, but overall, I mean, WWE is doing what they can. They can't control crowds not being there. So, overall, again, the Royal Rumble's top event probably for me. They keep doing what they can.
Was there anything new with getting the pay-per-view with like the new acquisition, or is that haven't like taken any effect yet?
Not until March, I don't think.
Okay, all right. So still to come on that. What's the next big event that wrestling fans are looking for? Is it WrestleMania?
Yeah, April something.
Yeah. So there'll be like some small pay-per-views in between, but they're what we call in the wrestling business right now the road to WrestleMania. So like everything now is building towards WrestleMania. And like back in the 80s and early 90s, they would take a year to build one match to WrestleMania. Now it's kind of like just a couple months, but it's the road to WrestleMania. It's all building up to that payoff at the end.
Good deal. Well, fans, you hear it. A little bit of update for you on the wrestling world. Let us know what you're looking forward to in WrestleMania. If you had your favorite moments from Royal Rumble, let us know. Now let's talk about totally switching gears. The little things we did. Andy first said last time. Let's do PC Mike. Why don't you kick us off with the little things and what you thought about this movie? I've already talked about it Monday, gave a rating, so I'm excited to hear what you got.
Yeah, I guess we'll say spoilers before
That's fair.
we do.
Yeah, spoiler alert right now for the little things with Denzel Washington. If you don't want to hear it, there's your warning.
I think it was like a C- version of 7, if I'm being honest. Kind of like the same payoff at the end of 7. Acting was okay at times. Rami Malek just wasn't doing it for me in this role. Jared Leto was creepy. I liked him, but there were just like some big holes I really didn't like. It's a thriller, so the watchability is down because you know the big twists and turns and things like that. I thought Denzel was pretty good, but kind of big holes in his story too, and there really wasn't a payoff. And I really didn't like the twists and turns it took. With our scale, I think I told you guys I was about a 3 after thinking on it. I'm probably like at a 2.8-ish because I thought there had some good parts, but still it's worth the watch, but it's not going to be something I watch probably ever again.
For sure. I mean, you guys already heard my review. I echo a lot of the same thing. Just felt a little short, felt a little empty. One of our fans, or actually one of our boys, Mike, he wrote into the show on Instagram about the little things, and since I'm glad we're talking spoilers, because I actually wanted to talk about the story a little bit. My review is spoiler free. If you want that, it's on the episode just before this one. And he said, was Denzel basically the killer, in the end? And I was like, gosh, that's like what it almost felt like. It was like, oh, this guy does bad stuff in his life, and that was the point of the story. And I was like, just kind of fell flat. Giggler?
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping there wasn't little twists. Like, it made more sense for Denzel to be like a serial killer that had to move away, and now, I don't know.
Because he accidentally kills that girl, right? And you're like, okay, all right, he kills the girl, and then it's like, oh, now this guy, what's the guy's name that plays the young detective? Remy Malek.
Yeah.
He accidentally kills this guy, not really knowing for sure if it happened. It's like, I'm like, okay. So then he gives him the red beret, or Barrett, or whatever you call it. I keep saying it wrong, and Carrie keeps making fun of me. The thing that you put in your hair.
It's a beret.
Yes.
It's a beret.
I thought beret was like the French hat, though.
Or clip. Hair clip.
Yeah. Bonnet. A bonnet.
Brett. Brett.
Look, Andy's got it. He's like, I know what Stephanie calls those. I keep getting it
See
wrong.
all this hair? I got a lot.
Yeah, the hair expert. So he sends that thing to Remy Malek, the detective, and that to him is like, oh, I can breathe easy. I killed somebody that actually killed this person, right? That's what we're led to believe. But then, like, it wasn't. It was just like a story about move on, it almost felt like. What'd you think, Giggler?
Yeah, I didn't like this as much as I thought I was going to. I was pretty pumped. Just to like have something to watch with some big actors in it. But I think it was pretty, like, the acting was good in it. I just didn't enjoy too much about the story. I would say if I had to give a rating, maybe like this is definitely lower out of the ones that we've given on overall. Maybe like a 2.3.
Okay. Yeah. It's fair. It's a fair score. I think that's pretty fitting.
My own mind.
I got to look back at my notes. I don't have my rating in front of me. I was trying to slide up and see it real quick, but it's around there. I think it was like 2.3 or 2.4. It was down there around you guys.
Yeah.
There's just so many holes too. Like him finding him because he went to some random like repair shop and kind of seeing him like peek out and like,
yeah,
that's your main guy. Like now, like nothing else ties, but he has a car that's similar to what you think. I don't know.
And I almost felt like that was the lesson. It was like at the end, they're like, well, it was a guy with this many cars and he had a job here. And they kind of show these things like, well,
they showed the profile of him.
Yeah, the profile.
He fit the and he did something towards the end to fit the profile to make it look like this. What he did was he said he moves around a lot. So what Denzel did was packed up all his stuff and moved it and burned it. So it looked like he just moved away because that fits the profile of the guy.
Yeah. And like at the end of the day, it was like, well, what did you have in the first place? So I really think that was like, it falls short at the end because that's what I feel like that was the point. It was like, hey, this guy didn't do it probably.
How did Denzel find him out in the desert? Like he's just driving around.
He was just driving around and he hit a dead end and he turned around, and whenever he turned around, he saw the gate.
I know he saw like the gate kind of open, but how did he get all the way out there? He's like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna take this ride off the highway in Los Angeles where there's hundreds of exits.
I think we're meant to say like he was tailing them though at like a distance, because he does see them when they pull off, and he has the 2 coffees and he throws down the coffee and he gets in his car.
I know, but he has to stop at the light and they just go.
That is true, and that's kind of when they disappear. And then he's like, hey, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get us some stuff. And like he is gone. These 2 are gone for like about 30 or 40 hours, and I was like, is no one asking where these 2 are? All right. Big holes, big problems. You heard our rating here. Let us know if whatever you thought. If you agreed, you think something different, let us know. Sticking to what you watch, and we're doing these new MCU rewatches. Gonna switch gears and get into the Marvel universe here for my what you watching. I'm kind of giving up my what you watching. I say giving up like it's a big hit. I gotta watch a Marvel movie every week. Like, ooh, poor me. But I'm giving my spot to these films. And what I'm gonna do, we did Thor. We're gonna make this even shorter than what Thor's was. I have this. I'm getting pretty concise with the note taking, and I want to give you what you want and what you need to know about Captain America: The First Avenger. So that's what we're talking about today. And it's going to be what you need. I'm going to breeze through my stuff real quick, and then I'm going to rate it, and then I'm going to obviously give PC Mike and the Giggler their floor to give their thoughts on it and to give a rating. If you guys don't mind, I'm just going to blast through this thing. All right, MCU fans, let's set it up, okay? Captain America, okay, First Avenger. First of all, came out in 2011, set the stage. It cost $140 million to make. It made $370 million at the box office. Where does it fall in the MCU timeline? It comes after Thor. Thor's end credit scene leads you into this, but before Avengers. So we just talked about Thor. We'll talk about Avengers next week. At this point, I try to put myself in the mindset. Where was I in 2011? What did I think and not honestly feel about this movie when it came out? This is one of the movies I think that has... like people love it. It's popular, but it's also one that say it's kind of a, I've heard complaints about the film. I'll put it that way. But putting myself in 2011 Logan shoes, at this point, I've seen both the Iron Mans. I've seen Thor. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, okay? Like, it's 2011 me, and I'm like, I don't care what Marvel movie it is. Put it in the theaters. I'll pay as much money as it costs to go. So much, and you guys, obviously, the path never ended, because here we are 10 years later, and we created a whole podcast specifically because of basically what happened here.
Wouldn't that be wild if you created a whole podcast and every week you just looked at different scenes from Captain America: The First Avenger because you loved it so much?
You shouldn't joke, because this is only our first year, so who knows what will happen in the years to come. Be a whole week, 3 episodes, 1 movie. You never know. All right, so setting up the movie. Let's just set up the MCU. What's happening? Here's the synopsis. It's 1941, and the world is in the throes of war. Steve Rogers, played by Chris Evans, wants to do his part and join America's armed forces, but the military rejects him because of his small stature and a list of stuff. He's really sickly. I'm going to read the list of stuff that's on this doctor's note he has. And Steve gets his chance when he's accepted into an experimental program that turns him into a super soldier called Captain America. Joining forces with Bucky Barnes, gets introduced in this movie, played by Sebastian Stan. Also introduction of Peggy Carter, played by Haley Atwell, who would inspire a series of her own and be in multiple MCU films to become. She's a powerhouse in her own right. Captain America leads the fight against the Nazi-backed Hydra organization. That's right, you get Hydra in this one, you get S.H.I.E.L.D. Really quickly moving through some of the biggest parts of the movie. It opens up in the future, like present day, 2011, finding the big ship, finding Cap's S.H.I.E.L.D. Why am I clapping? I'm clapping because we're talking about this movie. I'm excited, but I'm also clapping because S.H.I.E.L.D. with a capital S is the password for the squad page. You can use that. Go to mostlysuperheroes.com/squad. Use the password S.H.I.E.L.D., like just the word, capital S. And what are you going to get? There's our video from our live Instagram show on Monday is sitting there and waiting on you. The movie opens up with that. We actually go from there back to 1941, where 99% of this movie will take place. It is a period piece, a fictional period piece. And we find out that Hydra, this big group that basically supports Nazis, they're bad guys, are seeking out what is known as the Tesseract, what was teased out in the end of Thor. And we meet Red Skull, classic Captain America villain. This is who I remembered from my childhood on anything that was surrounding Captain America. I always knew he fought Red Skull. I didn't read the comics. I knew that, though. It was cool to see this character come out on the big screen. And we get some cool references to Thor. It's teased out this movie. Red Skull actually opens up in the first 10 minutes and says, hey, I'm looking for this Tesseract. It was in Odin's safe. He calls Odin by name. Like, he's obviously been chasing this thing forever. And Red Skull's name is Johann Schmidt, played by Hugo Weaving. So that's Mr. Smith from The Matrix, plays this guy. He's obsessed with power. He actually got his hands on the serum that we're going to learn about. And he becomes the arch nemesis of Captain America. Talking about young, skinny Steve Rogers real quick. My goodness, this thing, he looked amazing. Like, it looked like a real young Chris Evans walking around. You're like, how do they do this? They can do anything in movies, and now we know they can. Especially Disney Plus. They're like, hey, we're going to use this technology in a big way one day. You have no idea. Yeah, get Luke in there.
Just wait. We're going to bring back some people.
Yeah, literally back from the dead, too, sometimes.
Hey, and don't sleep on Kanye West because he did this for Kim Kardashian. He brought back her dad for her birthday this past year.
Yeah, but we haven't got to hear from Kim on that. Like, was it a good gift?
Well, I think they're divorcing, so probably not.
Yeah, I don't think that bodes well for him.
There you go, fellas. Don't take that. I don't know if you should be following the advice, Kanye. All right, so we get this young skinny Rogers, and he is trying to get in the Army, just like the synopsis says. And there's a part where he's interviewing with the doctor, and the doctor's like, hey, man, let me see. And he looks at this list of stuff. Listen to this guy's list of ailments. He has asthma, scarlet fever, thematic fever, chronic or frequent colds, high blood pressure, palpitation of a pounding heart, easy fatigability, heart trouble. It's on there again. Trouble of any sort was on the list. And has in a household contact with tuberculosis, a parent or sibling with diabetes. This guy is sick. Did you ever catch that, Giggler?
Yeah. I think I caught that on my rewatch, but I mean, no big deal. I have like half those things too. I'm glad to know I wouldn't get in the military either.
I do love how like half of his stuff does not like match up with his body type whatsoever. Like with high blood pressure and like all that kind of stuff. Like he's the skinniest guy in the world.
So skinny, and he looks like fairly healthy, just a tiny guy. Oh, cool. So you rewatched it too, Giggler. That's cool. PC Mike, did you?
No.
I didn't think so. That's all right. When's the last time you saw it?
2012. No, I don't. No, this one comes on a lot, and I this is one of my favorites because I think Red Skull is actually a really good villain, and I love the transformation in this one.
Yes, I do too. It's such a cool scene. It's very sci-fi, and leading up to it, so we meet Bucky Barnes, Sebastian Stan. We find out these two are good friends. They actually go to the Stark Expo in 1943. We meet Howard Stark in this one, played by Dominic Cooper. It's really cool. He's just like Tony. He's up on the stage. He's got his own cheerleaders. It's like 1943, but his son will turn out to be just like him. He makes a car fly just for a minute. You kind of find out like this guy is equally a genius, of course. We meet Dr. Abraham Erskine, played by the fantastic Stanley Tucci. He's the creator of the super soldier serum. He played a role in creating Red Skull. Now he's basically like, I got to create Captain America because I already created like the bad guy, so I need to make a good guy. We meet Dr. Arnim Zola. This is the right-hand man to the Red Skull. Short guy, stout, with the glasses, played by Toby Jones. We'll see this guy again in Captain America Winter Soldier. And a fun fact, Mark Hamill actually plays the cartoon version of this character of Zola in Avengers the Assemble cartoon. Look at Mark Hamill just getting all over the cartoon world. What's Hydra doing in this one? Okay, they're helping Nazis with the Infinity Stone power. And now we meet the good guys. We meet Peggy Carter, again, played by Haley Atwell. Again, this character would go on to be in multiple MCU films. She had her own show right away. I'll be honest, I've never seen it. I'm probably gonna watch it at a certain point because now this Peggy stuff I feel like is coming back to the forefront. We've talked about some theories about Captain America coming back. I feel like I might need to watch the show to make sure I know what's happening. But I don't know. Giggler, did you watch Agent Carter?
I was gonna say, if you just made the best argument for watching that I think anyone's ever probably made, because I've had zero intent in my life to watch that show prior. But I mean, if it connected to like that to future Captain America, then I might be inclined to. But I just never watched it. I mean, I think I started watching Shield and kind of fell off that because it just wasn't keeping me interested. So I was like, I'm not going to start another show in this universe. But here we are with WandaVision, and now we know they're not going to fail from here.
That's so true. PC Mike, was this a show you watched?
I'm going to have to say no, Logan. I did not watch
Agent Carter. That's fair. I mean, I haven't seen it either, but now that I think about it, like, how did that show end? Like, is there like a episode that closes out with like Captain America showing up because of what happened in Endgame? That'd be awesome.
If somebody's out there, because I know they do this with a lot, if you can find us like a 10-minute clip of the whole series of Agent Carter that we can watch and get the gist, I would love that. I would watch that.
That's for PC Mike. I'll give it the time probably eventually.
You'll probably start taking notes on like a legal pad, watching it, trying to connect something with WandaVision back to this.
I'm excited to talk about WandaVision today because my note taking. I'm glad that you're talking about it because what I'm realizing too is like there's certain things that I'm just starting to let go of because I don't need to know every little thing. I'm like, hey man, I don't want to be the guy, the Charlie from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, like with the strings. It's fun to theorize stuff at a high level, but once you're starting to write down like, oh, in the back corner of this room there was this Post-it. I'm like, hey man, just watch the TV show.
Yeah, you're big. You want to be more big picture and not tea leaves every little thing. Right now with WandaVision.
Yes, and help connect things that maybe were that were kind of hard to see. I like to help with that kind of stuff.
You did nail a couple things from this week's episode, though. You do have to pat yourself on the back.
Yes, you're right. I will. Thank you for saying that. I did call, and I'm excited to try to call a couple other things. I think I'm on to some. So anyway, we'll get to WandaVision. We'll get there. Phase 4's coming. Sticking up to our OG film, Phase 1, Captain America: First Avenger. So moving along in the storyline, we actually get Captain America with his powers. The big transformation. This is kind of what you were looking for in the movie. Mike said it. It's what you showed up for. Him getting in that machine. Howard Stark being a Stark, creating him. The lights going down. The big bright light. Him screaming. Awesome. You get him running in the street without any shoes on, showing that he's really tough. Like, I can barely even walk on gravel. You know what I mean? This guy's running barefoot, full speed down the street. You're like, okay, he's going like 40 miles an hour. We find out he's really fast. He sells bonds for a little bit, but he does get to see some action. We get a nice montage of all these missions he goes on. Actually gets to fight alongside his boy Bucky, who he rescues. With early days being Captain America, he actually breaks into a big camp. Tommy Lee Jones is in this movie, by the way, playing a colonel who Steve Rogers is reporting to. And he actually goes and saves all these soldiers from a Nazi camp, Hydra Nazi camp, brings back his boy Bucky. And Bucky, this is just the foreshadowing of everything we're going to see with the Winter Soldier. And we'll be talking about that movie as well. And, of course, Falcon and Winter Soldier coming up in March. So, I mean, you're getting kind of like, again, this is Bucky's origin story right here. This is where you meet the character for the first time. If you think it's not important for the show, guess again. All right, so then they get to the end scene here, okay, right? Well, Bucky does fall. He passes away. And I completely understand why they call him the Winter Soldier, because he falls into a big, cavey ice. It's like it's snowing, and it's cold. I'm like, okay, so he's the Winter Soldier. I got it. I don't know if that's actually right, but I think that was definitely part of it.
Sounds right to me.
Because have you ever known why he's actually called the Winter Soldier? I don't think I have. All right. Well, I do think it.
I just assumed the same thing, honestly.
Yeah, it's like ice cold. He fell. All right. So then we get on the plane. We get a big kiss from Peggy to Steve as he jumps onto this thing to fight Red Skull. Get Cap versus Red Skull on this big plane that we were introduced to at the beginning of the movie. This is one of the coolest parts of the whole film. At the end of the fight, Red Skull ends up grabbing the Tesseract with his bare hand, opens up a space viewing like portal inside of this plane. I mean, this is a Captain America movie. There wasn't really a lot of this stuff happening. So all of a sudden, you're getting like a glimpse of the galaxy, like you're watching Thor or something, but it's 1943. Captain America's like, oh my gosh, what is happening? Red Skull shoots up like into a beam of light, disappears. The Tesseract falls to the ground. It'll be found later by S.H.I.E.L.D. and stored at like a bunker somewhere. And we will see Red Skull again in future movies. If you're watching the MCU right now and you're trying to keep it spoiler free, I'll just tease that to you. And I won't even tell you what movie it's in, but you do see him again. And I hope we see him again in a way with Cap that would be interesting. If you guys know what I'm saying there. Again, trying to help any new MCU fans by not giving away too much if I don't have to. All right, this part kind of is a pet peeve for me. I'll be honest. Now, it gets me. I like the end of this movie. The plane's going down. Cap and Peggy on the phone. They say, got a rain check on that dance. It really gets me teary-eyed for sure. But I'm like, dude, this plane was so smart. Like, it literally had an autopilot switch. Like, why couldn't Captain America just get on the phone with like any pilot and they'd be like, yeah, we'll tell you how to land it. It's not a big deal. It's a plane. Instead, he crashes this thing into the ice. Poor Peggy. Like, it is rough. I am rooting for those two. Like, I'm a big Peggy and Steve fan. I'm not just a bandwagon. I really do think they're a good couple. And it is sad to think like, oh man. And then, so then it goes black, right? You think it's over. Like, oh, we'll see what happens. Okay, he wakes up, looks like his time, finds out immediately, no, it's not. He's in a SHIELD base. It's present day 2011. He runs in the middle of New York City, Times Square, all barefoot again. You know this guy still got his powers because he's barefoot again. And Nick Fury comes out, and he's like, what's up, Captain? He's like, you've been in the ice like 80 years. You're 70 years. He said, you all right? And Cap was looking back over his shoulder and said, I had a date. Oh, man. There I go. Got me again. Got me goosebumps again.
You just missed it.
That'd be devastating. You're like, oh, man, she's probably dead. But she's not.
Didn't you guys connect something to, didn't Andy get a little, like something from Endgame too? I know we don't want to jump too much, but wasn't there something you found or you heard, Andy?
I just think that it, like, I feel like we all should have seen the ending of Endgame like sooner. Just
coming.
That's like not that it was just a perfect ending, honestly, and there's no other way they should have done it.
That's true. Yeah, and let's just say this, spoiler alert for the rest of the MCU, because it's too hard not to connect them at this point. Yeah, it's like, okay, if there's a way to make this happen, then why wouldn't you? You know, and I'm sure as soon as Captain America hears about time travel, he's like, I know exactly what I'm gonna do.
Duh.
Wakes up in the future. Okay, so then the movie ends. There's a in credit scene. It's awesome. It's him punching bags. He's like the giggler, man. You do it with your punching bag in your basement. He's just punching this thing one after the other. And he says, do I have a mission? Nick Fury's like, yes, you do. And this, I actually misspoke. I said it was at the end of Thor in the theaters. It was this movie where they showed the Avengers teaser with all the flashes of all the heroes. And you get like Tony Stark like patting Thor on the back. And I'm just thinking about seeing that for the first time. Like, oh my God, they're going to put all these guys in the same movie. It's coming really soon. All right, ending my thoughts here. It's a hell of a movie. It's a Captain America movie for sure. You get Red Skull, Hydra, Peggy, the Shield. You get Shield. You get a young Howard Stark. Like, I know people have talked down on this movie, saying it's boring, saying it could it's nothing like Winter Soldier. This is an origins movie for Captain America, and after everything that happened afterwards and everything that's happening from now on, I will say this is a great film. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 3.4. Thank you guys for allowing me to get through that. I hope you enjoyed the little breakdown. Let's go and get some thoughts. Giggler, you just watched it. What I missed? What else what are your highlights of this movie? And let's hear your rating.
Yeah, I'm just going to start with my rating. Just
get
that out of the way. It's kind of like in the middle tier of the Marvel movies, where it's not one of the ones that I'm always looking to rewatch at first glance. And it's not in like the bottom ones where I'm like, these are still good movies, but not something I want to rewatch compared to the others. But I'll go with a 3.1. I appreciate everything that this movie did for the future of the MCU and everything. There's just something missing. I don't really know. I don't even know what it was. I just wasn't not on par with the others comparatively, honestly. Still one that I'll rewatch if it's on TV every once in a while and there's nothing else on. So definitely deserves its rating, but I'll go with a 3.1 there.
Solid score. I appreciate the honesty too. It's like, if it's not hitting it there for you, let people know. PC Mike, where are you at on this film?
Yeah, I'm right around with Andy. I'm probably like a 3. I'd say a 3.0. But I think it does its job. I think we maybe need to like look at origin stories, origin movies a little bit differently, because they're building something up. You can't get it all in the first one. Just like Batman Begins, you can't get it all. You can get teasers and start building that way. So origins are kind of hard. I think, to almost grade, because there's a bigger picture. It's not just this 2.5 hours, it's the franchise ahead. So that's where I kind of come with origin stories. I think it's a little difficult to grade, just because do you tie your origin story to the next one that follows it, because that built up to that next one too? I don't know.
And Imran, whenever he was on the show last week, he said something about that. It's like you have an origin story is tough. It's like you got to get through this thing of, you're going from non-hero to hero, and it's a hero's journey in one film. You're asking kind of a lot. It's not just a mission where like Winter Soldier, it's just Captain America dealing with like this really cool stuff. Now, that being said, totally different kind of film. They changed the tone, they changed the camera work. So I kind of hear what Giggler's saying, that maybe there's something just kind of missing there. But I'm with you, PC Mike. Origin stories are going to be origin stories at their core.
How many Spider-Man origin stories are we going to have now? Do we have three cinematic origin stories?
At least. I mean, you got Into the Spider-Verse too, who like openly makes fun of that with like they have like 7 origin stories.
So that's 4 if you're counting like Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland's origin stories.
And Tom Holland really hasn't hardly even been told. I don't even think we're even like, I think Andy said that before. Are we even going to get that one? But yeah, there's so many, and how many times you've seen Bruce Wayne and all that. But I will say this is why I enjoy Captain America. I think it's because I haven't really seen it really done in my lifetime this way, and that's why it holds really good. But appreciate your guys' thoughts on it for sure. And we're going to keep the MCU rewatch going. So we have next up, it's a big one, fellas. Talking about the first Avengers. Oh, man. I got to do my best not to spend like 2 hours on it. How'd we do on this? I think we did a pretty good job on this time around.
You did. You did a really good job. Size.
Just keeping it tight. Right. Trying to keep it tight for you guys. Right. Like, we'll have episodes where we just like talk about a movie for 2 hours, and we'll do that. This is like, hey, keep it tight. What's good about it? Avengers. I know you'll be watching it, Andy. Mike, do you think you could put this on your list this week?
Yeah, I can put this after the Super Bowl, or maybe this week sometime.
We didn't even talk about the Super Bowl. Let's do that before the break. At least address it. We got to at least address it. We got Chiefs in there. We got Tom Brady going back.
If he wins, it'll be 7. I don't know if anyone will catch him.
You're a Chiefs guy, Mike. What about you, Giggler?
Steelers fan, but I'm going for the Chiefs here. Just anti-Tom Brady, everything.
They openly like made fun of him on SNL, like when John Krasinski was playing him, and he's like, "Man, they're like, wow, you're really just going to the Super Bowl again." And John Krasinski playing Tom Brady's like, "Yeah, I'm really just doing it. I just really practice, and it all just works out." And they go, "All right, you got a lot of people cheering for you." And he said, "Almost no one."
Yeah, I don't want to see any more clips of him like open mouth kissing his kids.
I forgot about that video. All right, well, fans, let us know what you think about the Super Bowl. I know it's coming up, and we'll be talking about it after the fact. But what are you guys doing? Let us know. On the MCU rewatch, watch for Avengers, and then we will kick off Phase 2 in the next 2 to 3 weeks with Iron Man 3 and Thor. I always like to connect to just kind of where does this movie fall in terms of what's happening nowadays, things to think about, keep in mind. We have, sorry, I scrolled down too far on my notes. We have Peggy and Cap. We talked about this, like theories about Captain America coming back into the MCU. We've heard these rumors. They're very much rumors at this point. But if they did, maybe there's a aspect that we talked about with Agent Carter or another form of this Captain America coming back. Again, this is Bucky Barnes' origin story. It's also the story that introduces Hydra. This is and once you find out that Hydra infiltrates S.H.I.E.L.D., well, you rewatch these films, you start to notice things that S.H.I.E.L.D. was doing at a certain point, and you might be like, oh, that was probably Hydra, not S.H.I.E.L.D. And every time you'd see something questionable happening. And we'll see what happens. We'll keep it's a good movie to revisit before Falcon and Winter Soldier, and we're going to do that just for you. So we'll take that off your plate. We'll keep you informed with what's going on. With that, let's take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. More MCU talk ahead with WandaVision Episode 4. We'll be right back.
You've heard others, but nothing could prepare you for the shameful stupidity that is the Jock and Nerd Podcast. Hear Imran.
So if you offend everyone at once, it's a wash. I've covered everybody.
Anthony.
Sorry, I was texting. Say that again.
and Rug Boy
Yeah, whenever there's a snowstorm, my Slack hole tightens up.
as they talk over one another.
Just exactly
John
the same
Connor
as,
was the
as
fucking Terminator.
We're talking over each other. It's fine.
Sorry.
Swear
I had boobies.
and ask you for money.
Just give us the money.
Witness the hubris as they claim to be the world's authority on comic book movies.
Who said?
Never said that. You've never said that.
Who cares? A jock said that.
Comic book, TV, movie reviews, news, and whatever they choose. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you find your favorite podcasts. The Jock and Nerd Podcast.
Can't be silly, goofy fun.
Seriously, people really listen to this.
Jock and Nerd.
The meat.
Welcome back from the break. Here with PC Mike and the Giggler. I'm your host, Logan. We hope you enjoyed our review of Captain America, the First Avenger. Now it's time to fast forward in time. Jump up to Phase 4 of the MCU. We're, of course, talking about the breakout series by Marvel Studios, now streaming on Disney+, WandaVision, Episode 4. The titled episode is We Interrupt This Program. Holy moly, what an episode. I was absolutely, no questions asked at all, most excited to rewatch this one. Why? Because it has answers, like actual MCU high-stakes answers, like what time frame are we talking? Like where are we talking? Like all these big questions that come to the forefront. I had so much fun watching it. I'm excited to break it open with you guys. PC Mike, let's start with you. How did this episode sit with you?
I think it was perfect, honestly, how they're starting to tie things in, and we got to see why certain things happen in Wanda's visions over there. But yeah, and I also think it's going to do something really good for the show. I saw a lot of people online and even friends of mine say, man, WandaVision's really good after this episode. Kind of pulling more people in and like tying everything together. And man, it was fun. It was fun to see. And it was cool to see like little things like the helicopter. Like, why is that there? Oh, that's it. And like starting to tie all these things together. And like I said earlier, Logan, you made some right predictions, spot on predictions for this episode. I didn't think it would come true that early, but you nailed a couple things.
Yeah, well, hey, I always say I don't need the validation, but I do love it, so keep it coming. And I totally agree with you, too, that they're actually giving like a lot of payoffs to things that we were looking for. And like it almost seems a lot of it's intentional, right? Like we'll talk about the helicopter, for example. There's a payoff there. You kind of understand very directly, oh, that's that. Giggler, how'd you feel after this one?
Oh man, you just talked about how this finally gives you answers, but still so many questions. I'm more excited than I have been for the whole show after this episode. It's just impressive how they take like three, like not even like side characters, but like, I don't know, B/C level characters that don't get a lot of attention on screen and revolve a whole episode around them. And then it still worked out so well. Just all three of those characters just did a great job. So I'm really excited to see how this progresses for sure.
Yeah, I really appreciated how they built the show around these like few key characters that we know, and like they were kind of the ground, like holding us all together. It felt so cool and new, and felt like this really is the new Marvel, and we're all here for it. All right, let's get into the story and talk about it. The episode opens with some soft voices, and it turns out to be a few people. Maria Rambeau, who you might remember from Captain Marvel. We also get Captain Marvel herself saying some lines from the movie, whispering things like "little trouble." And it's this scene of something happening, and there's dust in the air, and it's bright, and all of a sudden a person is materializing, you see. They're coming together. It is Monica Rambeau, who we have met as Geraldine in WandaVision, but who is that little trouble, the little girl from Captain Marvel. This is that character. This is the first time we're getting in-episode confirmation of this. What is happening? She comes together. Holy cow. People are coming back from the Thanos snap via the Hulk snap that happened in Avengers Endgame. People are coming back all at the same time. They're in a hospital. Turns out she's talking to a doctor. This doctor is going to help all of us feel like when are we and what's happening. she explains this doctor to Monica. She says that, hey, your mom died 3 years ago from cancer. That's Maria Rambeau. That's Captain Marvel's best friend from the movie. She said that was 2 years after you're gone. This confirms this is 5 years. This is exactly within line with Avengers Endgame. 5 years later, the Hulk snap brought everybody back. And oh my gosh, this is so great. We're in present day Marvel. We're back to like caught up with the timeline, I feel like. And for the first time, I felt like I was truly out of like, I don't know, like quarantine. And I'm in like a new world that's just like the MCU. They're like, hey, don't worry, come with us. It's a lot better over here on this timeline.
It's a really good way to put it. Good job.
That's a great point for sure.
What were you feeling, Giggler, as you saw these people come back to life?
Yeah, this was like, you just go through that moment in your mind where you're like, I think this is what I think it is, but this is wild to see like how they almost did it in like a comedic fashion in Far From Home, when they were like, I think they showed a scene of people like being blipped back like during a basketball game, like a high school basketball game or something like that, to where here it's like, I think she's walking down the hallway and the guy blips and she like bodies him and he tackles him basically.
Mm-hmm.
So just crazy. Like what happened to the people that were blipped when they were in airplanes? Did they just appear in the sky and just fell and die?
Hope they're in an Iron Man suit.
That's a real question that needs to be asked. But I'm only kidding.
Surely that's what happened, right? Because we know from the end credit scene at Infinity War that helicopter just crashed, right? Because Nick Fury at the end credit scene sees that helicopter crash. So they vanished from the sky. You would think they'd reappear in the sky.
Yeah, I don't know. I did bring this up to one of my buddies, and he said this is completely unconfirmed, but he's like, I think I read somewhere that the Russo brothers confirmed that the Hulk wished for everyone to be in a safe place or something like that.
I could see that. Like everyone comes back safely is probably all that had to be thought, you know?
Yeah, and if he even tried to get Nat back, so if obviously it's not like he just was saying undo the snap. He had some other wishes, but
he tried to make some wishes for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so we know when we stand. We're like, okay, this is all right. We know where she is. This is Monica Rambeau, and this is where we meet Sword. She is Captain Monica Rambeau, and she is back from the dead. She wants her job back. We find out from this guy, Director Tyler Hayward. He's the leader of Sword, and there's a back and forth here that explains that Monica's mom, Maria, she designed this place from the ground up. She built Sword. And what does SWORD stand for, by the way? Sentient Weapon Observation Response Division. I didn't know that before today. And they do mention sentient a few times. They talk about an astronaut training program that's dying. People are scared since the blip because, like, who wouldn't be? You'd be like, what? That can happen? We can just be blipped out of existence and brought back? Like, that's terrifying. They're building weapons at this place. We see glimpses of rockets and maybe weapons. Like, we're back in like what feels like a SHIELD warehouse. You know, Monica's getting the tour. We're getting the tour. PC Mike, what were you thinking as you saw like this tech? They're walking through the place. It's kind of feeling like SHIELD. We're at this point in the episode, we're totally different than the first 3 episodes of WandaVision. You know, we're not even in the WandaVision world. How were you feeling at this point? Were you adjusting to like, okay, we're on another side of this?
Yeah, it's kind of like a peek behind the curtain of what's actually going on. So kind of being able to see, there's like 2 timelines basically, and we've been seeing the WandaVision timeline with the sitcoms, and now we're seeing what's happening on the other side to kind of counteract that. And I thought it was cool. And then with the people coming back, I know it's like half the world gone with Thanos snap. But like, it doesn't really register until you see like that hospital and them coming back and like how crazy that is. And like, that was just like, wow, like normal people like Tom and Joe were just gone. Maybe it wasn't just the Avengers, but like, and now those people coming back was just kind of like, wow, this really did happen. And now they got to reacclimate to life with it. But how they did this episode was really cool with kind of the back and forth and tying little bits and pieces into what we've already seen.
Totally agree. Well said. And I do like how they're doing this because, like Andy said too, it's very different from what we saw in Far From Home that kind of made the campy, silly fun. Now it's like, oh, these are the real people. And they can also, this would be something that we'll see in a lot of these Phase 4 projects, that how this blip, what happens when half of everything disappears and then comes back? Well, you can find out in like different aspects of the multiverse. Falcon Winter Soldier will be something totally different, Sam was gone and came back. Bucky was gone. Like, we're going to get like people that actually got blipped too, and where they're going to get to tell their side of things. Moving the story along, got some nice images for you here on our YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate you. And these are all from Disney Plus, of course. So we find out the FBI is working a missing persons case in Westview, New Jersey. Okay, we know this via Sword. The Tyler guy tells Rambeau, you're grounded because anybody that goes missing and comes back is required to be grounded. It's your mom's rule. She's like, okay. She's going to go help with this missing persons case. This is where we meet James E. Woo. Woo! Woo! I mean, they're just screaming his name in our soundbite. And this is, of course, the agent from Ant-Man and the Wasp. Hilarious. There's a callback to the movie immediately. I don't know if people have caught this. I did not read it anywhere. This is from my brain. He does a magic trick right from the get-go to pull out his badge. Like he learned that from Scott Lang in Ant-Man. There's your tie-in. And he says that this isn't just a missing person. They're missing a witness. Who is this witness? Giggler, do you know who it is? Or do you have a theory of who it is?
I don't know. There was when they had the scene that's coming up where they are putting the people's names on the like the board or whatever. There's some that were absent. I don't want to spoil anything. That's just things that I noticed from reading on my good old Reddit threads for each episode, where I think obviously the Reddit overtook the world in the last week, crashing the stock market, but it's also good for superhero news too.
So it seems like Reddit is the go-to for a lot of things nowadays. Well, we also find out that no one can get into this town, and I'm wondering, I don't know. Well, before we get there, PC Mike, did you have an inkling of who this? I'm trying to think. Like, it's got to be a character we know, right? I mean,
isn't New Jersey like a big hub for different stuff in the MCU? Or am I just making that up?
Well, that's a good question because we know that James Woo, he was in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and he's nearby, obviously, enough to come and check this thing out. The Sword place must not be too far away from this place. So it's a good question. I don't know the answer, though.
Yeah, I don't know, kind of like looking online, just kind of skimming. I think New Jersey has some semblance here of who's missing, but I don't really know who it would be. But that was the kind of thing that jumped out to me about New Jersey, and then kind of seeing online like some New Jersey things, trying to make connections, probably a little too deep connections, but still trying to make it.
Well, listener, let us know if you know who this is, if you have a theory who it is. If you just know who it is and we're just missing it, we're probably driving you crazy. Write us into the show and shut us up. All right, so no one can get into this town. Cop says it doesn't even exist. And these cops are from Eastview. They actually call Agent Woo a G-man. And Woo says, it doesn't even want us to go into this. Can't you feel it? And then they send in the drone. This is where we get the chopper that Wanda will eventually find in the bush. Monica gets sucked in, and this is where we get the episode. Real world stuff. This Sword agent that we know, and we know what happens to her essentially. We're going to get the other side of this. Enter Sword. They build a camp around the town. Enter Darcy Lewis, played by Kat Dennings. We talked about this in last week's episode when we broke open Thor. Good timing, right? Yeah, it's intentional. You're welcome. And in a nutshell, she has done exactly what we called. She has made it up the rankings of the science world. She's now a doctor. It's been 5 years. And she can do astrophysics. It's her thing. And she's in a van with all these other smart people, like a engineer from Chicago. They're here to figure out this reality that Monica has been sucked into. She's a doctor. She moved up, said all that. Felt really cool to see Darcy on screen. And, it's one thing to theorize about this person being on the show. To see her on the show really felt good and felt familiar, like seeing like an old friend. And she just hit on all cylinders again. I'm going to give it up for her.
You even call that her hand in one of the episodes, or his hand.
In
Like
the
in episode 3.
Oh yeah.
And they were pointing
That-
towards the screen.
Was that Imran? Maybe
it was
Or that
Imran.
maybe-
Imran called that.
Yeah.
If he's Imran, if you're listening to this episode, you did. You said in our episode that was her at the screen. We actually get that shot. It's awesome. Some cool stuff I picked up on here. Darcy says, "What is this? Like a multi-service response? Like the whole all of military is there. Like the Air Force, the Navy, they're there hand in hand with sword. It almost seems like after the blip. I bet it was like, hey, government and other countries, we can never let this happen again. We all got to be on the same page. Maybe it really did unite the world. I really wonder. What a story to tell if we could see like a world that's really united at the top level."
Yeah. Wow. That's deep, man. I don't know. I don't think we have it in us.
Well, 10 years from now, whenever Phase 6 is wrapping up with Avengers 8, we'll be like, hell yeah, there it is. You heard it here. She discovers that if she has an old TV, her being Darcy, she can see what's happening in here. Okay, now here we go. They're watching WandaVision with us. They're doing the same thing we're doing. It's like they got whiteboards, and they're like, is Vision dead? What do the hexagons mean? And they're watching one episode at a time. Darcy at one point says, hey, that's Vision. Isn't he dead? Like, not blipped, dead? That's her line. We know that. He got... Wu helps us all out whenever they explain all of this science-y stuff, because they do explain it in like a way that like energy that came from the Big Bang basically mixed with broadcast signals, and that's what's happening. So that to me is like Wanda's the creation of life because she's the witch, right? And then maybe whatever she's doing is mixing with like Vision's body, and it's created this reality.
You know what else was created at the Big Bang?
What?
The Infinity Stones.
The Infinity Stones. Oh my gosh. Do you think they're going to bring them back?
I don't know. I mean, one of them's used to power her husband or make him alive. So,
and
maybe that one
she's
will be.
powerful enough to destroy that stone too. So I mean, she could. I mean, you would think if you can destroy something like that, you could make it.
It was definitely missing from the scene that we're going to talk about coming up, though. That's for sure.
That's exactly right. So Wu helps us out. He says, so you're telling me a universe created a sitcom starring Avengers. And I'm like, okay, there we go. That's perfect. Darcy's a badass. She's like the go-to person now, man. She's like really like one of the top people at this place. Like she's going to be a major character, and I'm so excited about it. We get a montage of Sword, again, being us, connecting clues. Why sitcoms? Is this an alternate reality? They're asking all the same stuff we've been talking about on this show. We get the part where Wu radios into the program. This is during episode 2 of WandaVision when Wanda's talking to Dottie, and that weird scene happened, like, Wanda, who's doing this to you, Wanda? And we find out the first time that whatever's coming through the TV is being censored by someone, and we'll see another example of that later in the episode. Oh, and Retro Sword helicopter, we see it, and they call it out, and they're like, isn't that a retro version of our drone? And they said, why would he change it? And Wu's like, to match the theme. And Darcy says, or to render it useless. You don't have to guess on some of this stuff. Okay, so now we get this Sword guy crawling through the underground place. They're going to try to go into this town subterraneanly or whatever, subterranean style. And I knew the moment he was going in, I was like, that's the beekeeper. It is. He comes up to the manhole. Beekeeper's standing there, turns his rope into a jump rope, and comes out on the other side. My question is, what happened to that dude? PC Mike, did they answer this? Do you know?
I don't think they answered it, but I think you kind of nailed it, I think, with rendered them useless. So all the tools that they are bringing in there are now rendered useless.
Wait a minute. Wasn't the beekeeper scene... That's the end of episode 1, right? No, it's not. It's not, because she gets pregnant at episode 2, and that's when she runs out. So never mind. My theory was going to be that, she turned him into like the mailman that we saw walking or something.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know. He could be any guy. Maybe now.
No, you're right. That was the end of episode 2.
Okay, so maybe he's just a guy in the town. We'll see. Okay, now they're watching episode 3. This is where they hear the name Ultron be mentioned. It skips again because someone's censoring the broadcast. So Wanda gets upset with Geraldine. Darcy and Wu are watching. It cuts to the end again. For them. For us, we get to see it. And Wanda is flat out using her full Scarlet Witch powers. Says, you're a trespasser. And she throws her ass out of this reality. And that's what we'll see at the end of episode 3. One thing I'll say is that whenever she was thrown out, yeah, it was violent, but I also thought, I could see the red, all the way around her body as she's moving through these walls and stuff. So it wasn't like a get hurt type thing. It was just a get out of here. The same way she would protect herself and Vision in Avengers Infinity War when they're fighting Thanos' bad squad. You can always see that red Scarlet Witch magic, all around them, protecting them. PC Mike?
I like that.
Do you have any thoughts here? I saw you chiming in.
Yeah, just wanting to protect, not hurt in a way.
Yes.
But get the heck out of my quote unquote reality. Don't ruin this for me. I'm having too good a time.
And she went, if you count the walls, she went through 4 walls. If you count the barrier at the end, so that's probably pretty symbolism there of breaking the 4th wall.
Yeah, literally. And we got a nice image there of the walls there broken, come back together. And we saw this happen in Into 3. We do get them her shooting out, Monica being in the real world in all of her clothes, again, full Geraldine outfit. Wanda fixes the wall. Vision comes back in. She says she went home. She lies to Vision. That still happened. She looks back, and we get this terrifying. I was like, oh, I think I had made that noise. I was like, oh.
Gross.
No stone.
No stone. No stone. I mean, that looks like Thanos' hand has been in there, and Wanda says, he says, hey, we could leave if we want. And she says, no, we can't. First of all, she says, we can't. And she's got everything under control. Come back to Monica Rambeau, zooming in from the top. And she wakes up and says, it's Wanda. It's all Wanda. Again, don't have to look too hard at that point. Holy cow, what is happening? She's making this happen. She's protecting her Vision. She doesn't want to leave her reality. She doesn't want to get back to new realities. I have so many theories. I have so many questions. I had so much fun. Wow, wow, wow. What an awesome episode. Giggler, what did I miss? What were your other favorite parts? What else do we need to break open on this thing to get us prepared for episode 5?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of the biggest unanswered questions so far. What, I mean, it's really dumb. My biggest, what to say is just what's going to happen next. I have no freaking clue.
No, it's fair. I mean, if they're doing their job right, they are leaving you asking more questions than feeling like you have answers. So, even though they answered a lot of stuff, it's like you said, they're going to leave you with more questions.
Yeah, this next episode could be 80s themed, right? If you're going by that. But, that's all I really know. I haven't seen any previews or anything or what's going to happen next.
It seemed like there was a guitar 80s kind of riff at the end. It's like no, it's a little bit more.
Oh yeah, wasn't that NWO entrance theme song, Mike? Isn't that right?
Yeah, I think it was Jimi Hendrix. So
that's a banger for sure. That's what it reminded me of. But it was yeah.
Well, you obviously enjoyed it, and PC Mike. How about you? Overall thoughts, things that maybe you wanted to cover.
One big thing that's sticking out to me is, so when she's cutting information out that's going to Sword, so is she that, if it's her reality, is she that cognizant that other people are watching this and trying to shelter them, censor them from seeing what really is happening here? Or is it someone else above her doing something? That's my big question.
Yeah, 100%. I was thinking the same thing.
It's spot on because you know what they did in this episode? They introduced a second party finally. We have Wanda and Vision. The characters are unknowns, right? We don't know what they are. We have Wanda and Vision. Well, now they're here's Sword, and now they're converging in these stories. Well, the question is there a third party at work? We've looked up fan theories and stuff that there might be a Marvel villain known as Mephisto, the devil kind of a bad guy, and he's doing some of this. We know that Agnes could be a known character. Imran talked a little bit about that she's trying to get her hands on these children. It's okay, so is Wanda making the world because she wants to? Is she just keeping everyone out and doesn't really know who's playing what games? But I don't know. It just seems like she's so confused in the episodes in episode 1 and 2 that, like, why would she be so confused about so much?
The 2 times it cut were 2 times that Wanda lost her cool. When that glass broke in that lady's hand and cut her, and then kicking Rambo out of her world. Those are the 2 times that it cut. So is that something like she doesn't want to show her true colors, possibly, and kind of shielding that? Because those are the big things I've seen. Like, way it's going, Wanda can go 1 or 2 ways.
Yeah, that's right. And it's like, what is she fighting for at the end of the day, and how far will she take it? And how much of it is because of what she knows, and how much of it is from her being manipulated? All right, here's some theories, some things to look forward to. I think we've talked about this last week, but we have these 2 kids now. If time moves forward again, we can assume these kids will be older. We're going to see, I think, more intertwining of these 2 stories. It's going to be more of like, this is happening here, and now you'll get this is happening here, inching closer and closer together to a big mass climax where it all comes together. And hopefully we'll learn more about this maybe 3rd or 4th party at work. Like, who are these other people involved? One thing I did want to say is they did list some names of those people. They're like, this character, Herb, is this guy. And they said, like, his real name, he's from, whatever, New Jersey. I did not dig deep. That's where I started saying, stop. I don't even want to know at this point. That's going to be a question that gets answered for sure. And if it's going to be like cool heroes or something popping up, I don't know. But if you guys have any thoughts on that part or any extra to add on the list of names.
I'm like you. I did not look too deep in this.
So you want me to talk about it, or do you want me to keep it a secret from you?
Well, now I'm like, ooh, is it a spoiler? Is it like a big spoiler, or is it more of a theory?
Not per se. It's just 2 people that were not on the pictures that they posted up there.
So Agnes probably wasn't on there, right?
Correct.
Okay, and then Dottie.
Dottie, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So it's nothing too wild that you're thinking about, but all right, I know.
So no, that's simple process elimination. Thank you for sharing it. I think that the fans may have been upset if we would have missed it. So way to go, Giggler. If they're not on there, I think this is just, again, we know that Dottie's the key to everything in this town. I mean, there's something going on there. And the last one I had is Wanda just dragging around this dead body?
I hope not. That means she was doing other things with that dead body if she had kids. So
yeah,
who knows?
making babies with it. Well,
there was no old school commercial in this one, was there?
There was no commercial in this one. We saw like the commercial from episode 1 again. I tell you right now, I love what happened with What's Wanda, and I'm excited to see what happens with these kids and whatnot. But man, to see people living and talking in a Marvel world that felt to me kind of like early days Avengers, where you're on that SHIELD ship with Nick Fury and all of the team, and you're meeting the Agent Hill and all these people that are just like in the world of Marvel. And like, Marvel world's just like its own thing. It's why the movies and the formula work so well, because you can feel it. I can tell you right now, I felt it, and I'm super excited to break open WandaVision episode 5 with these 2 knuckleheads and you fans next week. How we do, fellas?
Great. I concur 100% on that. Like I said earlier, like my weeks revolve around Fridays now. I guess that's not a big change from the past, because everybody wants to get to that weekend. But normally I'd be like looking forward to like watching football, but this is gonna take over that whole.
Do you watch it like right when you wake up, or do you wait till work's done to watch?
No, my wife makes me wait till work's over. Otherwise I'd watch it. I'd wake up early to watch it probably, but she'd get very mad at me if I had to watch it without her.
I've done that. I've been hitting it in the mornings, but there are days where we'll be like, let's make sure it's after work and all that kind of stuff. But the earlier the better, man. I'm with you. And well, the good thing is you can just rewatch it as many times as you want.
I watched all 3 weeks so far. I've watched it directly before we talked about it on the pod. I was like, I'm going to watch it right before, get it fresh in my mind.
Well, we'll do it next week for you too, listener. PC Mike, do you have any other thoughts on this week's episode?
I'm kind of with Andy here. I didn't really see any previews, or did they do like a season preview. at
So
the
yeah, I'm
most.
glad you brought that up because I did talk about that on my Monday show. They did release a mid-season trailer. I said this Monday. I didn't watch it, and I've said this before on this show. Whenever you start getting to trailers 3, 4, 5, I start to sit out because I just don't want to see too much. Like we're already getting a show every week. Like, do we really need a trailer? Like they're only going to show their cards a little more. I almost like just watching them just like I watched movies. That being said, if I hear enough buzz about this trailer and I watch it maybe like right before the episode, it's a possibility. Did you guys watch it?
I have not.
Look at
I
that.
think I saw like a bit of it, but I didn't really like focus in on it.
How interesting. I'm just saying it's been out for a couple days. None of us watched it. I don't know what that means, but there's
I agree with you. It's just too much. I don't want to see. I mean, there's already so much speculation via just spoken word and reading it on Twitter, Reddit, anything. There's just so many articles that you can see, and like that's all speculation. But like, if you see something and that's in an episode, I don't want to know that before it happens. Really. I mean,
Like,
obviously,
I even saw on Twitter for like this one before I watched it. They're like, "This is the best episode so far," and I'm like, well, I want to make that call. I don't want to read what you say. I want to make that call.
Exactly, because like that matters too. Context and setup is everything. If you tell somebody it's the greatest movie they've ever seen, they're gonna go in maybe feeling empty. If you tell them it's the worst thing you've ever seen, you're more likely to make it good. At this point, we are mid-season. I just like watching these things, and we're gonna keep watching it, guys. If you're watching WandaVision, let us know what you think. Let us know any big parts that we missed. Yeah, we're trying to avoid spoilers, but we're not trying to avoid like low-hanging fruit. If there's something we missed, let us know. You're listening right now. Hopefully it's Thursday. WandaVision episode 5 drops tomorrow, so this is primed and ready for you right before that episode, and we'll talk about the one after this next week. With that, let's get into what's coming up. Oh, man, we're so lucky to get to do that every week. It's really cool that there's just not like one WandaVision movie and then it's not. No, we're talking about 9 episodes. So fun. Plenty more of those coming around. We also have a new episode of The Music Show now streaming on Spotify, doing one every week. This month in February, we are doing Decades Month. So we did our first episode on the 80s. It's a real mixed bag of stuff, superhero stuff, not superhero stuff, and some nice jams to get you feeling nostalgic. And watch for new episodes of Mostly Superheroes, the Music Show, every Tuesday on Spotify, built using Anchor. That's our music show. A lot of fun. PC Mike, Giggler, when are we going to get a group episode of this on the books? It's totally different. It's audio only. We can get some music together. I guess we need to have a good topic first. We got to start there.
I'm down anytime. I love music.
I concur. Anytime we want to start rocking out, I'm ready.
Especially when we were talking about the other day, the Batman 1989 song.
Yeah. Why do you think I was asking? Why do you think I was asking about that? It's in this episode, and I gave you guys a huge shout out. I talked about that was one of the longer segments I broke open. It does feature Party Man from
Party Man's so good.
Oh yeah, Prince, Batman 1989. That was for the fellas. Get over and check it out. And yeah, new episodes every week. Let us know what you want to hear on that show. If you got a good movie or series of movies or TV, we cover all types of music. If it's in the Spotify library, we can do it. Again, more WandaVision reviews. The hashtag MCU rewatch. Our next movie will be Avengers, the first one. We're gonna do that next week. Get excited. That'll be fun. We won't be able to help us spend some time there.
So I hate to do this, but I do have breaking news. Somebody just sent me something, a text. It's from Culture Crave Twitter. And Elizabeth Olsen says WandaVision will have a massive cameo on the same level as Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian.
Oh my gosh, I literally just got like little kid excited. I was like, every possibility just went through my head. My first thought was Tony Stark.
Cap, Tony.
I don't even know.
Luke Skywalker level? How is it not one of the three?
But remember what Paul Bettany said in that other interview? Yeah. He said I don't think he's ever worked with this person.
Oh my gosh, what a riddle.
Yeah, for real. I don't even know who it would be then.
Wow. Shout. Hey, who was that? Who was that tweet from? We'll give him a good shout out here for fan mail. Appreciate that breaking news.
It was from, let me see.
And I'll tag them too. That way they'll be in the episode because that is exciting.
It's from Culture Crave.
Look at Andy's got the tweet. There it is. Okay. All right. Culture Crave. Appreciate you. Man.
So if they did, I don't even know who it would even be. Is it like, are they going to introduce a new character who's a very famous actor?
Well, Mike, you are also assuming that these people are one and the same.
Right. That's a good point. Oh, man.
Maybe we're getting two big things.
True. Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
But I am on the level of you thinking that it's most likely the same. And if you think of it that way, well, then, yeah, who is it? Who has he never worked with? Which there's probably some MCU movies that he hasn't. You know, just because they were all in Avengers Endgame doesn't mean like Paul Bettany like was next to whoever, you know.
Are they going to pull something like with all the Spider-Mans, like Edward Norton's going to be Hulk?
I mean, I'd be excited.
Eric Bana too.
All of them.
I'm still for this Hulkverse movie. I'm pushing for it. Like I'm gonna start getting hashtag Hulkverse going. You heard it on most of the superheroes.
They do have to do something with She-Hulk, so maybe it's a tie-in there too. I don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna be another show on Disney Plus. All right. Well, hey man, thanks for the breaking news because that just got me. If I'm not excited enough for this show, that just did it even more. All right, we finally have at least a tentative month for you, so you can have an idea of when to plan this thing. We are booked up right now with MCU stuff. If you have not caught on, it is taking over, and we're fine with it. But because of that, we're gonna put our Jurassic Park watch party. Officially gonna say it. It'll be in April. All right, so you can watch for that. We'll have a live scheduled event. That way, it's weeks out. You can have it on your calendar. It'll be on social media. It'll be super easy. It'll be us. We'll be doing it. And same will follow, not April, but just talking about stuff that we're working on here outside of our regular programming. Mostly Madness, hashtag Mostly Madness. We are taking submissions for the movie tournament, and we are going to be getting together us this week. We'll get this locked down to where we actually still need to designate for sure what categories we're going to do, but I want to I don't want that to stop you from submitting your movies. You know, think about it. What are your top? What's your top comedy? What's your top rom-com? What's your top superhero movie? Think about this. This is your chance to put a movie up that you love and let it like battle to the death against any possible movies. We are taking those submissions. Write us in at our website, message us on social media, and use hashtag Mostly Madness, and we'll get you entered into the tournament. We'll keep you posted on how that'll work. We'll be a weekly check-in on how the tournament's going, update on brackets. Plenty more to come on that. Something new every day. Keep an eye out. If you're listening again, this is on Thursday. New episodes everywhere you get your podcast and YouTube. Video content available for you everywhere. We're doing live shows on Instagram and Twitch. We got the music show. We got fan mail cranking out on Saturdays. And Sunday has been so much fun with you guys in the Facebook Mostly Superhero Squad page doing the What You Watching. I don't know about you guys, but I just already feel this awesome community. We're getting up about like 5 to 10 people a week have been dropping in there. And we're just getting more eyes, more ears, and more opinions on things to watch. And you can get featured on the show very easily. Just go join that Mostly Superhero Squad page. Man alive, guys. I had a lot of fun today. Giggler, happy birthday again, dude. How did you feel today? Did you have a good time?
Oh yeah, always. Thank you. Yeah, I think it'll be funny when we ask what you watching on Sunday, and probably everyone will say the Super Bowl, but I'm pretty excited for that, just to eat some good food. Unfortunately, won't be able to have any of that good old alcohol, but come March 20th, I'll be ready.
Yeah, you got to finish your push on the hard 70. Is that what it's called?
75
hard. Good luck to you. We are supporting you on the show. That's a bummer that you can't have alcohol on Super Bowl day. Don't worry, I'll do it for you.
Thank you.
PC Mike, how'd you feel today? And give us that optimism we always look for.
Man, just another layer of WandaVision. And as we peel back the onion, it gets a little sweeter instead of sour. So I'm excited to see what's happening. I think there's some fun stuff coming on. As you were saying, like the lineup, I think it'd be cool if people send us like food ideas and stuff for like the Jurassic Park watch party. And we could do like dino drinks and foods, of course, dino nuggets and stuff like that too. So
Yeah, send it in because we're going to have to order something. And we also we have a prize out there. We had a fan write in and win the contest, $25 in food delivery. I think his name is Greg, but don't worry, Greg. If you're still listening, you're still on our list, and we'll get you that so you can at least join us for the watch party. Maybe we'll even see if we can get Greg on the show and like he can watch with us or something. Yeah, let us know what you want us to eat, and maybe we'll eat it. But at the end of the day, I'm going to eat whatever sounds the best.
Dino Nuggets is a great place to start. Bring me back to grade school. Get some mac and cheese to go with it.
Some Dunkaroos.
Okay, deal.
Okay. Hell yeah. Snack attack, man.
We'll get to the point where we'll be like, does anybody really want to eat dino nuggets? And we're like, no, let's get Mexican or something like that.
Yeah, man. Well, we'll be talking about it. We'll be talking all about the Super Bowl next week, more WandaVision, and of course the Avengers rewatch. We're excited for it all. Thank you for your support of the show. Subscribe where you get your podcast, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all those social channels. We're also on Patreon, releasing early episodes and episodes with the post show. It's after we wrap up this show. There's us three knuckleheads always keep it going just for a little bit. And we'll include that for you Patreon patrons. And there's something new every day at mostlysuperheroes.com. Wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't even be here. We appreciate you so much. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And we'll see you next time on Mostly Superheroes.